Okay, live. Okay, so just going to very quickly do a check of the bits on the stream. So that includes the sound. Started streaming one earlier on without the sound on. Okay, I can hear that. And now I'm going to quickly check that I've got the... where are we? I'm looking for subtitles because I... Where is it? Moderation settings. Just give me one moment. It will hopefully tell me what it wants me to do. Right. Okay, right. So what we are going to do is we're going to talk about very basic autopilot. Now, the airports I've chosen to fly from here are quite an unrealistic flight plan for me to do a basic autopilot tutorial on, because they are very renowned for being dangerous airports. However, I'm going to literally take off from one airport and then just dabble in this area here. A very famous airport is up here, it's Princess Juliana International. This is the one where you usually see the jets landing very close to the runway with the fence, and people being blown over by them. So you probably would have all seen it by now. We're going to load up at parking small, and we're going to be landing on runway 10 at St Bart's. That's down a quite a steep hill, and we're going to bring the flight conditions, because this is a tutorial, to clear skies. And everything else is going to be off, so we're going to be flying it really in as close to perfect conditions as we can get. We'll set it now. We've got it set at midday again, so it should be nice and light out there. Yeah, and we're going to be flying the Cessna 172. It's the G1000 version, the glass cockpit. It's yeah, it's a nice aircraft flight. It's what I fly most. So we'll talk about the basic autopilot then. In this system here, which is the G1000, what I'll do is I'll very, very, very quickly set up my aircraft to fly first. So very quickly, let's get the pitot masts covers off, the stack covers off, chocks out. Don't forget to take the chocks out, otherwise you will not be able to move. That's it. Let's have a look at this airport. Nice. Get off those markers, we don't need those. Now we'll get inside the aircraft and we'll start it up. It's going to be a really, really quick start up, because this isn't about the startup procedure, this is about the autopilot. Don't leave your battery on too long before starting the engine. We'll get rid of this, and we'll get our landing lights straight on, because we are pretty much going straight out. We're going to get our strobe on, our beacon lights and nav lights. Don't need taxi lights. Yeah, prime with the fuel pump. Let's get the mixture on. Fuel pump off. We will set the trim to take off around 12:14. That'll do. We'll set our flaps in a minute. We'll set our selector here to center, and we'll wait for that to align. Whilst we're waiting for that, we will get this up here. We'll set our transponder to, although we're not flying multiplayer, it doesn't matter, out and VFR, and we'll come back and we'll just start her up. There she is. She started. Nice and quiet, nice and quiet. And we are now looking good. We'll set our flaps. We'll see if we've got an ATIS, so we can make it a little bit realistic. Let's have a look at. No, we haven't got. We haven't got it. Okay, so let's have a look. See if I can find out where the wind's coming from. No wind data. Brilliant. So I'm just going to take off on the runways. If you remember rightly, we put it down as winds are calm. Anyway, right. So what do we need to do? So for this tutorial, we are going to be taking off. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make it easy. We'll go to actually the spot where we're going to take off from, and we'll set it up from there. So we'll come back out. Just give me 1 second. And apologies for the noise in the background. My boy is playing on his Roblox game. Okay, so nicely we'll take it out. You can see there the wind sock. No wind whatsoever. I mean, it's very, very slight breeze. You see how short this runway is? We're going to take it all the way to the end, and we'll go this way, and we'll do a little spin down the bottom. We're going to take off runway 30. Obviously, with that 180 degrees out, the other runway down the bottom is going to be runway 12. So you can see the X down here. There's a glim lamp here. We're just going to ignore that. Drive taxi right through it, and then we're going to use this area here. Slam on the brakes a little bit. And we're going to get that turn in here. You can see that as well. Look at the map on the top left and the compass. That's the where it wanted us to go. So, very short runway. So we've got our flaps on, which is good, and we've got park and brake. So let's talk about the setup a minute. Right, give me 1 second. Let's go on this. Okay. Right, happy. So I was just checking a chat. Right, okay, so let's talk about autopilot. So autopilot will enable the aircraft, once it's configured correctly and set up correctly, to fly itself. Okay, that doesn't mean that you put the autopilot on and run away for a bit, because particularly in Flight Simulator, it can be quite temperamental. So let's talk about what we need and what the basic modes are. You've got the AP button, that is autopilot on or off. Okay, you've got flight director. So this is basically what's going to happen is when I click OK or on, it's going to put a purple arrow up here, and this is where what's programmed into the autopilot, where the autopilot computer wants to put your aircraft in what state. So at the moment, that white triangle is our attitude, heading, etc., and our behavior for our aircraft. If I turn on the flight director, it's going to want us to carry on straight. Now that's taking information from here as well, and you'll see what will happen when we change. If we go to our flight plan and we go to our map, you'll see that we are going to depart straight out first. Let's zoom in here, and because we're going straight out, it wants us to go straight out. Okay, it's going to follow our flight plan. Okay, so that's the first rule for it. So that's flight director. If I turn that off now, it should go away. There it goes. The next bit is heading. So this is heading hold. So this will turn your aircraft to a heading which you select. That blue part of the dial here on your compass or OBR, HSI, whatever you want to call it, the blue knob is where you want to point. So if I was to engage my heading hold now, turn on flight director, let's see if it turns my aircraft. Wants to turn my aircraft, there you go. So my flight computer is telling my aircraft, dude, you need to fly that way. Okay? Now if I was to engage the autopilot and then take off, as I'm hurtling down that runway, my aircraft's going to want to turn. Okay, so we don't take off with autopilot on for that reason. So I'll turn the heading off. Now, to achieve safe flight, you can see there now, but because I've got the header mode off, my flight director is coming back. Because I want to achieve safe flight, I need to set my heading for the runway heading, because as soon as I depart, that's the direction I want to go, runway heading. So as you can see here, I'm heading in 306, as in you can see that I'm facing directly up the runway and I've got a heading of 306. So I'm going to set my dial to as close to 306 I can, or 306. This means that when I engage heading hold, the aircraft is going to fly straight, and I'm not going to get into any unnecessary turns. You don't want to get into an unnecessary turn too early. as soon as you launch. Your next one is altitude hold mode. The altitude hold mode will hold at the altitude in which you set down here. So at the moment we have the ability to select the inner knob, which is in the thousands of feet. Bear in mind it always adds that extra 200 feet because it looks at where we're at as well. And then you've got the 100-foot intervals as well. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to set ours for 2,000 feet. Okay, so we'll go up to 2,000 feet. So that means now that when we want to climb to 2,000 feet, we can go up there. Now, there's two differences with this one. If I just take off now and set altitude hold on, it will hold at the height that I'm at there and then. And I'll show all this in a minute. To get it to go up, you need to click the vertical speed mode and click the up button. Now, if we click the vertical speed mode up, use the up button here to set how many feet per minute you want to climb. And again, there's the flight director, okay? And it's telling you here that I want to climb now at whatever I put in here, 400, 500 foot per minute, okay? Now you can go up to wherever you want to go with this, okay? Just bearing in mind that if you put the vertical speed mode on and then select it, obviously once it's selected, that aircraft, regardless, will try and go to whatever you've put it in, okay? Because you have put a conscious effort into the computer to select what you want to do, okay? And you're never going to be wrong, are you? So we don't overload the computer in that sense, okay? Next mode that we've got is navigation mode. Okay, so this will go with and by whatever you've got put into your computer. So at the moment, if I go here to nav, it wants to fly down and to the right. Okay, it wants to follow my flight plan that I've got put in. We'll fly that shortly. If I put VNav, that is going to fly at the altitudes that are set within your flight plan within this system. Okay, this is basic autopilot, so we're not going to go into VNav for this. We'll talk about that on another day. Your back course mode, don't worry about that too much. You're not going to use that. That's for basically if there's a beacon on a runway and you're flying the opposite direction to what it would usually want you to go in. That's a really, really basic explanation of it. There's a bit more to it, but now's not really the time for it on a basic autopilot lesson. Okay, and then you've got flight level change, and again, that's based on your pitch, and that will change your flight level. Okay, we don't need to worry about that at the moment. So only things that we need to worry about at this time: autopilot, heading, out hold, and vertical speed up and down. And we might look at the approach mode later on. Again, that is more for your instrument landing system setting. Probably won't do it on this. This is all I've been asked to do for this stream is a really, really basic, quick and easy lesson. Okay, so we are all configured now for taking off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it nicely now. We've set about vertical speed mode on. I'm going to set my autopilot so as soon as I'm airborne, I don't have to faff around with my all my buttons. I can just press autopilot and it will do what I've asked it to do. Now I'm going to ask it initially to climb me up to an altitude of 2,000 feet at 500 foot per minute. Okay, so that means for every minute that passes, we have climbed 500 feet. You'll see our flight director has gone up. If we was to bring our aircraft to a 20-degree bank, you'll see, sorry, a 20-degree climb, like nose up attitude, you'll see that bug will move down. I'll demonstrate that all whilst we're in the air. So enough of me talking, let's get in the air, okay? So we'll get the heading mode select on and we'll get the vertical speed on. Bear in mind that I said we don't take off with autopilot on. If we've done that, now on my rollout, my aircraft's going to want to climb and turn right. At that point, it's going to want to do it, okay? So we don't do that, we climb straight out. So what I'm going to do is check around me, check left, check right, happy. And we're going to take off our brakes and we're just going to bang in the power, okay? Bear in mind this aircraft might want to yaw a little bit. It's actually doing okay. It wants to go to the left, so I'm going to put a little bit of right rudder in. You'll see it there. The airspeed will come alive shortly. There's the airspeed. You can see it 20, 30. Boy, a bit more power just here. We're coming towards the end of the runway and we're going to take off here. There we go, perfect.